Mills and Vignola present, along with Chief Iwanchu, and one guest, Jerry Kleiner, Alderman. Chief?
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners and Alderman Kleiner. I don't have a very full agenda this evening. Some basic stuff to go over. As far as communications, the only communication that the department put out since our last meeting was a press release dated August 4th in regards to the assault, which ended up in a manslaughter charge from 139 Wickham Avenue from an incident that occurred on July 26th. I have a little bit more detail I could get into with regards to that case in a moment. Looking at our new business, Police Commission meeting minutes from July meeting were sent to the Commission for your review. If no discussion, or would you like to discuss them?
Not for me.
No? Do I have a motion to accept as written? I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. July monthly stats. In the month of July, the police department handled 3,280 calls for service, which was a slight increase from the previous month. It was a 3% increase. July, we handled 3,187 calls for service. We've seen pretty much this year, just about every month, calls for service has been going up. And traditionally in years past, normally that September, October dips a little bit and then picks back up for the holiday season, so we'll monitor that as we move forward. Part 1 crimes, in the month of July was the first time we've seen, basically this year, a decrease in our Part 1 crimes. We showed 50 Part 1 crimes for the month, 13 in the violent category, 37 in the property. Out of those 37 property, 31 were larceny related. We're still having those numbers driven. Those Part 1 crimes are being driven by our larcenies. And that's a combination of larcenies both in the community and in our commercial businesses. June, we had 73 Part 1 crimes, so we saw a number of 23 reduction from June to July in Part 1s. Part 2 crime for the month of July, we handled 103 Part 2 crimes. In comparison to June, we handled 115 Part 2 crimes. For the month of July, the department made 278 arrests, which was a 24% increase from the previous month. In June, we made 225. A lot of that is also still related to proactive enforcement, some of the details that we have in place right now. Traffic tickets for the month issued 298, which was a 27% decrease from the previous month of 411, but we're still carrying an 8% increase year to date over the previous year. Parking tickets, 328 were issued in the month of July, 13% increase over the previous month of 290. For the month of July, we ended up with 14 incidents that resulted in uses of force, which still equates to that 5% of total arrests. We normally run between 2 and 5% traditionally between the arrests that we make that require some type of force involved in taking that arrest to full fruition. For the month of July, we also handled 3 shots fired cases or calls. One of them was unfounded. The other 2, we did find evidence of shots fired. One was July 3rd, was in the area of 25 Prospect Street. It was the 4th of July weekend. We have no suspects, no victims. Caller calls it in. We found shell casings. I did mention this in the last meeting. Those shell casings were collected and sent into the NIBIN system. Nothing has come back yet as them being involved in anything else thus far, but they are in the system now, which is great. The other confirmed one was the one I mentioned in the last meeting as well, which was July 11th, and that was on Phillips Street. In the afternoon, that was the 2 groups of teenagers that we dealt with. We made 1 arrest in that situation after a foot pursuit, and that's the groups we've been working with the school on, trying to address some of that behavior as well. The third one, which was unfounded, was on July 14th in the area of Maple Drive. One caller claims to have heard 1 shot. Nothing in the area that we could attribute that to, so that was documented as unfounded. Last month, I briefed the Commission in regards to our responsibility in pertaining to ERPOs, the Extreme Risk Protection Orders. We've taken a very proactive approach with that based on the new law, and since our last meeting, we've actually applied for 10 ERPOs thus far. So we're staying on the front end of that and trying to submit them in accordance with the law when required. Since our last meeting, we've participated in 2 additional jump out barbecues, one on August 9th at David Moore Heights and the second on August 15th at Summit Field. The David Moore Heights was much better attended than the Summit Field one for some reason. Normally in the past, Summit Field was one of our busier ones. We don't know just the time possibly, but a lot of positive feedback from the members that did attend, community members that did attend those. Night Out Against Crime was held on August 2nd. Unfortunately, I wasn't here. I was out of town, but from all accounts, I've heard nothing but praise, positive feedback from this event. An incredible turnout, I'm told. Absolutely amazing event. Sergeant Welch coordinated this, did an outstanding job once again. She's a great organizer, does a great job with this. I'd like to thank her and all the staff and all of the community partners that came together for that. Between Parks and Rec, the fire department, all of our elected officials, and many of the community business members and partners that donated to that event. So I'd like to thank them for all of their support in that. Addition on that outreach platform, Officer Galley has put together 3 weeks of Junior Police Academy, with each week being a different age group. Again, outstanding turnout this year, great response. We had a group of high schoolers. I spent a day with them. I went to a team building exercise with them. We did a ropes course, some paintball, just a great group of kids that were very interactive, social. They want to talk to the officers, and it's great to see them interact and see that positive relationship building. So again, Officer Galley did a great job with that program. She's got a lot of great ideas in her new role as the DARE officer, Too Good officer, and in her downtime from the school, she's finding these alternative ways to connect with the community. She's doing an outstanding job. Last meeting, I mentioned that we were in the process of adding 2 additional fixed license plate readers. They've both been installed this past week. One is in the area of 110 Wayanda Avenue, and the second is in the traffic circle of James P. Kelly Way. Piece of technology that we've had some in the past already, just over a year. Great tool, very successful. I've shared some stories with you in the past about that, so this will just strengthen our investigative abilities with crimes with these 2 additional cameras. We were also awarded, and this was done in a press release as well, some funding through Senator Skoufis's office for what we termed as a service coordinator position. It's a 2-year grant that we will be receiving. We don't have all of the details yet from the Senator's office, other than it is a 2-year grant, $75,000 a year, and the focus of that is to hire a civilian employee to work with us under our roof to be a service coordinator. And what I mean by that is that there's a tremendous amount of services that are afforded and offered in the community from both private and public sector. And a lot of times people in our community don't realize that those services are there, and it's difficult for them to connect with them. There's a lot of phone calls and hurdles you have to go through. So I had an experience last year dealing with a parent who said she's at her wit's end. She doesn't know what to do with her child. She tries to call this place or that place. She tries to go here or there, and she's always met with resistance. And that's kind of where this idea came from, is, feeling the pain from that resident, that mom. And myself and my admin team put this together. We proposed it to the senator. He was willing to take it on and supported it. So we do have 2 years of his support in this program. We're just waiting for the finalized documents so that we can move forward in hiring and getting the program up and running and off the ground. And I don't see any negative to it other than positive, and I'm hoping it's something that one way or another we get continued support for. On that same platform, and this is just coincidental, this is a grant opportunity that was presented by Assemblywoman Gunther to the Orange County Mental Health Program. It was $1 million grant for a whole bunch of different ideas and additions to that program. One of the parameters of it was to add peer advocates to police departments or communities, or share between police departments. And I had met with them many months ago and asked them about the peer advocacy program. And at the time, it wasn't really up and running. They didn't really have anybody in place. And the supervisor from the program actually reached out to me a couple weeks ago and asked to sit down with me again to discuss it. We did that last week, and when she came in, she actually brought a peer advocate that they actually hired for Middletown. So it's a mental health peer advocate. She's running on a 2-year grant as well, but they hired her specifically for Middletown. She's going to be in our building 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, from 11 to 7, with some flexibility depending on need. And she will be a direct link to the community, the police department, to all the mental health services that are afforded. So we look forward to that opportunity. We welcome that opportunity. And I know it kind of goes hand in hand with our service coordinator position, but the service coordinator to me is much more broad. It could be parental assistant, it could be financial assistance, it could be housing assistance, it could be so much more than just that, the mental health aspect. Like we work now with Fearless. We have a member from Fearless in our building a couple days a week, and he focuses strictly on domestic violence follow-up. So our peer advocate from assisted living or independent living will be focused on mental health. Our Fearless is still focused on domestic violence, and then eventually our service coordinator would be all-encompassing of all those plus some. So we're trying to hit the community from different areas and try to give them a full complement of services to help better the community as a whole.
So this service coordinator, how will
So on her, whatever, we will advertise once we get this person up and running. But what I would like to see, and this is where I would like to start with that, is that person wouldn't be out in the field so much. It would be more of a follow-up. So we'd give access to reports so that the person could come in, just as the Fearless coordinator does now, reviews reports that are related to stuff and identifies need out of those reports. That, we dealt with this person, maybe they had an issue with their child. Let me reach out to that person. Let me offer some services. Let me connect them with some other organizations and more or less be the conduit. But I don't like the idea of sending that person into the community on the front end. I could see doing follow-up with an officer afterwards, but ideally I'd like to see that person do a lot of work by reviewing reports, making phone calls, making those connections, setting up meetings where people could come to the police department and sit down and she or he could explain those services to them. That would be my initial vision of it, but obviously it's something new, so we're gonna have to assess it as we go and see what works best. We may have to change it and make it that the person is more available to go into the community as we move. But we'll be looking for feedback from the commission, from the council, from the members, the community as a whole to see, how to best fit this person into this position. I'm not aware of anybody else that has that to kind of model off of, so it is a new venture for us. We like to be on the cutting edge on the front end, so. This morning, myself and the admin sat down with our SROs. School is just right around the corner. We have 5 SROs that will be implemented into the school this year. And coming off of the heels of the end of the school year last year with the violence across the nation that we saw, we normally meet with them, but today's meeting was a little bit different. We really drove home the importance of their role, taking a stronger stance in safety and security in the building, doing periodic checks, following up, working with the staff a little bit better, educating the staff, being more vigilant, being aware of the ERPO requirements related to their roles. And we spent about 2 hours with them this morning, really driving that home, working with the security and the safety teams at the schools to make sure things are in place, that they have access to the required tools that will be needed if something happened. And just really going over the roles and really driving that home to make sure that they understand that they're not there as a way to get away from patrol, that is a big, big responsibility as an SRO. So I think it was well received. We spoke about it afterwards, myself and the admin, that we felt like it was a very positive meeting with them. And like you can see like the looks on their face as we're talking, like, ooh, like, wow, yeah, this just got real. And we'll stay on top of them and monitor them and make sure we get positive feedback from the school. If not, we'll address it as we move forward. Any questions with any of the stuff that I just discussed?
Not for me. Gene?
Moving forward, staffing-wise, I still have 4 vacancies, 68 sworn, budget for 72. Out of those 68, I have 1 on disability, 1 on maternity, and I have 3 in field training. That's the 3 officers that just graduated the academy. They have entered their field training phases, doing well thus far, seem to be very energetic and happy. Hopefully we carry that attitude through their career. We did receive the results from our police officer exam. The exam was provided on April 8th or 9th, and we just got the results. They've all been finalized. Just over 400 people passed. We've been working with the Civil Service Department. We have a physical agility exam scheduled for September 24th, and we've canvassed some of the, I think there's 24, 26 people And the first groups that have already taken the agility exam within the last year, that we can start the background process on before they have to sit or take that agility again. So we do have that wheel in motion, and if all goes well, I may have some candidates before you November, December-ish of this year. If not, definitely by the beginning of the year. We're still running our plainclothes unit, our crime suppression team, as we call it, which is focused on our hot spots and quality of life issues. I did make another change there. I've been trying to rotate officers through there for a couple of reasons. I want people to be a little bit more motivated and kind of earn and have something for them to work towards. And so right now I have Officer Coletti and Officer Ortiz. They just started. So I didn't bring any stats because they did just start. So by our next meeting, I'll have some other statistics to show their progress. Unfortunately, due to some of the staffing right now, I'm not able to put someone in the traffic unit for this month. And I'll explain that a little bit more in a moment as well. This is actually one of the main reasons, other than vacations being very high during this time of the year. Officer Yuvin has been deployed through his National Guard. So he ended up leaving us July 14th and is not due back to August 28th. So losing someone that's not in that vacation role kind of hits us a little bit. So that would have been our extra person for our traffic detail. So hopefully he does return on the 28th as scheduled and it doesn't get extended. And then I could get the traffic car going again, which was, so far it's been very fruitful. So I hope to continue that. Officer Troya, he was one of our SROs last year. He wanted to change it up, so we put him in the downtown for the summertime. Like a month or so into the downtown assignment, he realized how much he missed working with the kids, so he asked if he could, be reconsidered for the SRO position. But the second SRO at the high school came available. We thought he'd be a great fit, so we're going to transition him back into that second SRO position, and I'll be looking to fill that downtown officer position in September once vacations are over and we get some of our people back. Any questions on staffing? Comments, concerns?
No.
400, I do have one quick question. 400 applicants or test takers passed, out of total?
I think total there was, don't hold me to this, but I want to say there's like 40-ish people that failed between both the bilingual and the non-bilingual exam. So after certain people do qualify for veterans points. So after that was added and all of the tallies were realigned, I ended up with 5 people with 95s, 41 with 90s, and I think 145 with 85s. So they'll be the first groups we're looking at. And the bilingual, I don't remember those. Obviously, a lot smaller. I think there's only a total of 66 people on the bilingual exam. On that one, we're going to be focused on, correction. For the physical agility and the backgrounds that we're going to start, on the traditional exam, we're looking at the scores of 95 and 90. On the bilingual exam, because there's less people, we're looking at 95s, 90s, and 85s. So we'll have a good pool of people to pull from. Since our last meeting, just a couple trainings. Summer months is a little bit harder to train with staffing. We did have Officer McHugh instruct at the academy traffic direction and control measures, and then Detective Bailey attended the child forensic interviewing training. We are still currently working with Lexipol on our policy and procedure transition. We had our weekly meeting this morning with our rep. He said we are right on point to continue and to be done by the end of this year. So we're hopeful. We don't want to skip a week or miss anything because we don't want to fall back at all. It's a big undertaking, but we are diligently working through it. And I've mentioned before, we work diligently with the school district to try to address some of the concerns. I've shared that in the past. Something that came from our last meeting with the school, and we had a follow-up, is a community member that is very vested, not just in the community, he's vested in the school. He's willing to work with us, and he has, and it's been proven effective, is he's opened up his own personal time to help us mediate some of these issues that are arising between the youth. He's been successful. He's been in the Middletown area for a long, long time. He has a very good reputation. He has a good rapport with a lot of people, not just the youth, but their parents, because he's been here for a while. He knows them. And he's taken a different approach, which I never really thought of, is that sometimes parents and families are reluctant to come to us because there could potentially be a consequence. And same with the school. If they deal with the school, there could potentially be a consequence. So he provides a neutral location, a neutral person, and basically has a candid conversation as to what could happen if the stuff doesn't stop. So he keeps us up to speed with some of the people that he speaks to and the outcomes. And I mean, knock on wood, it's been successful. He's made some progress for us. So we appreciate that, and we hope to continue working with him and the school district on addressing some of those concerns. So yeah, he'd be a mediator. Again, doing it on his own, funding it on his own. He has some partners that he works with, and his children are a little bit older in the community. He works. He's got a professional job. His wife is very invested in the community as well, and he feels like it's a way for him to give back and help to make it a better place. He doesn't want to see the kids go down the same route that he's seen other kids go down, and have that challenge that never goes away. It's stuck with you for your life. So he's been an asset to us. Since our last meeting, I've had 2 employees impacted by COVID. Very minor, if any, symptoms, but they did stay out of work, did the proper procedures, got the proper testing protocols. They're both back with no issue. Some upcoming events. I mentioned this in the last meeting. We just had another meeting the other day, myself along with the mayor and some of the coordinators. Community barbecue. We did this last year with some of our community partners, business owners, community advocates. We are planning September 10th, Davidge Park, 1 to 5, 2 back pavilions. It is a city-sponsored event, so we're coordinating with them. We have the fire department on board, the police department, Parks and Rec, and there'll be some other community partners that come out and help us that day. So we're hoping for a good turnout. Last year, I'd say we had upwards of 500 people. So we're hoping for that plus this year. The school is actually partnering with us on this event as well this year. So they were going to do their own. When they realized what we were doing, they merged with us. So it'll be a back-to-school event as well. There's going to be giveaways of backpacks and school supplies and whatnot to help with the needs of the students. So September 10th, Davidge Park, 1 to 5. The police department is also planning, we have it all set up. We're going to be doing a movie night on September 24th. We've done this many times in the past. We've done it on Erie Way. We've done it in John F. Degding Square. We've done it on North Street. This year, we're going to use the new Erie Way Park. We believe it's a great venue for that, and we look forward to that. So September 24th. I don't know which movie, though. I apologize. I can't share that with you, but I will get that. That's always been a great event in the past, too. We do food and a barbecue and have families come out. It's a great time. We normally have some of the staff dress up in costume to match that of the movie. I do have a couple of cases just to brief the commission on. Not as many as last month, so I don't have so much. But July 26th, this is relates to that press release that I mentioned earlier. This was an assault that occurred at 139 Wickham Avenue, which is the BP gas station. Our victim was Daniel Mesa Rios, 31 years of age. Basically, from the investigation, he's hanging out there. I guess he gets disrespectful to another patron person that's there, someone that's a little bit older. Our suspect is there, witnesses this. Some words are exchanged. I guess he reprimands him for being disrespectful to the elderly person. One thing leads to another. The victim ends up assaulting, or the suspect ends up assaulting our victim pretty significantly. He's there, both parties are there. One's transported to the hospital, the other is arrested. We charge him with assault second. Due to the injuries sustained by our victim, he ends up dying a week later. So then we re-arrest our suspect and charge him with manslaughter. Unfortunate circumstances, I don't think that was his intention at all, and that's why he was charged with manslaughter. He's been cooperative. He didn't go on the run. He didn't try to, hide from us. We went right to his door, knocked on his door. And, it's unfortunate, but something so simple. I think that's addicting. It's coming this way, whatever that is. But, so that was a pretty significant situation. If you look at the monthly report, there are 2. Catching.
Rich.
There were two, in our Part 1 crimes, two rape cases. One is generated from an incident that occurred on July 8th, which is a sexual assault that happened on Grant Street. That is domestic related. It was actually a sexual assault between an ex-husband, ex-wife. They're together for a party. One thing led to another. We ended up arresting him afterwards and charging him with rape. Second one was a sexual offense. Actually came through summer school program was where it was reported. Through investigation, it was found that it was an incident that happened in the past on Waiwayanda Avenue between two youth family members, two cousins. So that is still pending investigation. We don't have anything to charge at this time, but they do count as two rape numbers for us. The last case I have to just brief the commission on is an incident that happened on this past Tuesday, the 12th. The rear of Davidge Park near the wooded area. Yeah. I didn't even know you had them in here.
Yeah, I knew they were hidden around here somewhere. Thanks.
This came in as an assault, ends up through investigation. It's a possible attempted sexual assault. There's a lot of things that still need to be verified. Our victim was attending a gathering at one of the pavilions with her boyfriend and family members and friends. There was some type of disagreement between her and her boyfriend and in-laws. She walks off. 10 minutes later, she reappears and alleges that she was sexually assaulted or attempted to be sexually assaulted. So we still have to kind of weed through some of this to see the validity. I don't want to discredit the young lady, but we do have to do our due diligence and verify her story because there are some inconsistencies that have brought some concern to us. But again, we will give her the benefit of the doubt and do a complete investigation. We've hooked her up with a rape advocate to help us through the process, help her through the process, and I'm not really sure where we're going to end up with that. But as of right now, that does go down as a sexual or attempted a sexual assault. Any questions in regards to those cases? Any other cases that you would like to discuss that anything else come up? I really don't have anything else except for internal investigations. One policy, I don't know if the commission would like to address them tonight or wait for a full commission.
Wait for a full board.
So we'll table those until we have a full board. Everybody got those? They were mailed out, emailed? If not, I can resend those. Other than that, I have nothing unless the commission has anything they would like to discuss.
Well, it's pretty clear on all of the emails that I've received. It's clear with the heading of it.
As always, if there's ever something that you would like, more information on, or I'm always available. If there's ever a time you guys want to come in and, ride with the officers or anything, by all means, it's always available to you. Eileen, is there anyone online that has any questions or concerns?
There is not.
Jerry? Go ahead, Jerry.
Hi, thank you, Chief. I just want to commend the police department for the community work they've been doing. And specifically, since I forgot to mention it at the council meeting, the turnout, as the chief mentioned, the turnout at Night Out was just fantastic. And Sergeant Welch had that so well organized. The line at the food, for food and other events was from 6 to 8, just constant. They did a tremendous job, and it was really great to see all the families and all the kids come out, and what a great night it was. So I think the police deserve a lot of credit for that, and I thank you very much.
Appreciate that, Alderman. If the commission has nothing else, I would like to request that we move into executive session just to discuss a couple personnel matters.
Motion?
Motion by the mayor, second by Commissioner Vignall. All in favor? So we'll move into executive session effective 5:15 for the reason of personnel matters.
Please be advised that ends the public portion of today's meeting. Thank you.